New beginnings. New beginnings. Is there someone listening to me here this afternoon who is feeling that perhaps she could be performing on an international stage? Had she singled down to this calling 20 years ago? Is there someone sensing that perhaps he would be a transformative corporate trainer and conference speaker had he followed his heart's desire in his early 20s without wavering? Is there someone listening to me here this afternoon who feels perhaps he or she could be a CEO in a multinational corporation had she learned early along the art of personal branding and the art of winning with others? Is there someone listening to me here who feels perhaps there will be an entrepreneur creating job opportunities to hundreds of people had they been bold enough to implement that innovative business idea? Is there someone listening to me here today who is feeling perhaps they would still be married, they will not have divorced or separated their spouse had they learned early on emotional intelligence, personality dramas, and why men are linear and women are cyclic? Is there a lady listening to me here who is feeling perhaps I would even be married right now had I been taught early on that living together is more of flexibility than compatibility? Maybe she wouldn't have been as fastidiously choosy. I'd even take it further than that. Is there someone feeling perhaps if they learned what we teach here, they wouldn't have lost a loved one? Maybe they would have been more discerning, more sensitive, more emotionally conscious. While we cannot change our historical realities, it is never too late to be what you might have been. No path is definite, no journey is ideal. Self-discovery is a personal process and a private journey. We all come to self-realization at different phases in our lives. What is tragic, however, is to journey through life, to walk through life without ever reaching that moment of truth, that moment of reconnecting who you are, that moment of realizing what your purpose really is, the reason for your existence. Yes, Mark Twain was right when he said, there are two most important days in life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. Shepherd Anstin found out when she was 56 years of age. She's in many ways like any other lady listening to me here tonight, except that she's 81 years old, and that she is the most recognized, oldest female bodybuilder in the world. Building a career to world recognition is no mean feat. Building a career to world recognition from the age of 56 stretches our imagination to a new level altogether. You too can do it. It's never too late to start. It's never too late to sow. There's a time to be broke, and a time to be tired with failure, and a time to say I'll no longer live on skeleton means, a time to wage war against scarcity and lack, a time to usher in abundant season. There is a time to fight, to quarrel uncontrollably and fight aimlessly, and a time to mature up in your relationships and accommodate each other and celebrate each other's differences. There is a time to be cheated, conned, taken for granted, impregnated by a runaway, and a time to say enough is enough. I'll take charge of my life. I'll be responsible for what happens to me, to come to that realization that things don't happen to you, things happen because of you. There's a time to look for a job, even to look for greener pastures, and a time to settle down along corporate ranks, a time to build your brand to corporate recognition, a time to become that executive that inspires hope. There is a time to add around doing everything, all sorts of businesses, applying all sorts of jobs. and a time to connect with your purpose. A time to stop pursuing fame and fortune and riches and success and begin pursuing meaning and significance and purpose. And by default, success begins to pursue you. There is a time to be supported, to be driven around, to be fed, to be housed, for your school fees to be paid. And a time for you to be depended upon. A time for you to stand on your feet and support others. A time for you to drive others around and to host them and to accommodate them. You can forever remain on the receiving end. There's a time to raise children, to mentor them, and a time to release them to the vast unknown for them to chart their own course. A time to release that which you carefully tethered and dearly fostered. I don't know what season of life you're in this afternoon. Maybe 2018 is your year of graduation. Maybe 2018 is your year to own a home. Maybe 2018 is the year you're going to get married. Maybe 2018 is the year you're going to start putting up apartments. Maybe 2018 is the time you're going to cement your relationships. Maybe 2018 is your year of abundance. If I were you, I would change every maybe and speak authoritatively. 2018 is my year of breakthrough. 2018 is my year of promotion. 2018 is my year of graduation. 2018 is the year I look forward to get married if that's my dream. And if I'm already married, to flourish in our relationships. Because confessions breed possessions. Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to take you through very important lessons, 5 of them. Lesson number 1, face your facts. Face your facts. Lesson number 2, expect to win. Expect to win. Lesson number 3, win every day. Win every day. Lesson number 4, change your habitual patterns. Change your habitual patterns. Lesson number 5 and the last one, rewrite your story. Rewrite your story. Lesson number 1, face your facts. 4 young men, very nervous, were invited for their very first audition recording by the executives of the Decca Recording Company. The executives were not impressed. As a matter of fact, one of them said as they dismissed these guys, I didn't like their sound. Groups of guitar are on their way out. The group that was dismissed is known as the Beatles. They have since become the greatest band in history. Among many other accomplishments, they have sold over 1 billion records. And they lived together as a team for 37 years, the longest lifespan of any internationally recognized band. I ask you today, have you been dismissed? Have you been turned down? Have you been rejected? Have you been looked down upon? Have you been fired? Have you been broken-hearted? You see, life is understood backwards, but must be lived forwards. You've got to make sense of your past for you to learn to deal with it, settle it, and make motion forward. You might need a life coach to help you connect the dots so that you can look to your story backwards and forwards. I like saying it this way. Unless you identify the missing link, the passing of time will never alter your outcomes. John Maxwell perhaps puts it in a better way than me. He says that, I quote, experience is not the best teacher. Evaluated experience is. I translate that to mean you can have a long, wrong experience. You can be married for 30 years, but you have such a wrong experience you don't qualify to guide anyone. It has always been a chaotic relationship. You can be in business for 40 years, but you've never graduated from a kiosk downtown. You can't offer advice for others how to grow their businesses. You can even lecture for 30 years the wrong way and mess up with students. You can have a long, wrong experience. What changes that is your ability to reflect and to evaluate yourself. A new year presents us with an opportunity to evaluate the last 366 days. And right now, I just want to invite you for just a few moments for you to reflect about the past 1 year. It is dangerous for you to begin the year 2018 and start living your life running up and down without taking a moment to take stock. Where am I? Where am I heading? You can't just start running up and about. You need to take stock every new season. And I want to ask you in these 5 areas, what did you achieve in 2017 in these 5 areas? The first area, and the most important, in your mental goals. You see, a lot of us, when we skip just one meal, we curse about. We like everyone knowing how we did not take lunch today. Everybody in the estate knows, today I didn't have lunch. But we are never troubled by skipping our mental meals a whole year in a row. We rush to hospital at the slightest toothache, but we hardly go for checkups for our mental well-being. Yet our mind is the CPU that gives our lives command. Actually, if you go through my teachings, you learn I keep saying you don't have a mind, you are your mind. How often do you take time to feed yourself, the real you? Kenyanjui is not the fellow walking around here. I can lose my arms and legs and eyes, and I'm still Kenyanjui. And what makes me Kenyanjui is my mind. What did you do for your personal growth and development? What did you deliberately do 2017? Secondly, in your relational goals, are you just whining how relationships are not working for you? How many outings did you go together as a couple? How many times did you exchange gifts? What have you done together this week, the whole of this week? I've jogged every day with my Mercy. And besides achieving our health goals, it also increases our endorphins, our ability to bond. Do you like it? In the marketplace, did you enhance your networks? Or are you just complaining how doors are closing for you? Thirdly, in your career goals, did you hit your targets? Did you achieve your KPIs, the key performance indicators? If you have been with me for some time, you know I teach you not to achieve your targets, but to exceed the targets, to exceed expectations, to go beyond expectations. What did you achieve in the corporate world? Have you been earmarked for possible rewards and possible future promotions? And if you're in business, did you expand your customer base? Did you enhance or open up new market frontiers? And even more importantly, what were your turnovers like and profitability? Number 4, what did you achieve in your financial goals? To start with, did you have a financial goal? If you are single and you're listening to me, you live alone, then you need to be setting your own personal goals. Did you have a clear, specific goal for you? How strange it is. The overwhelming majority of the people listening to me here this afternoon, you have financial goals for the corporations you work for, and your boss puts pressure for you to achieve the financial goal. Yet you cannot put pressure on yourself to achieve your financial goals. You don't even have one in the first place. And if you came here in this meeting as a married couple, what are your goals for 2018? Does your spouse know what you need to make this year? Or are you intending to grow money in the trees? Do you have a financial plan? How will you get that money? And number 5, what did you achieve in your health goals? Did you have health targets to start with? There are only 2 things under the sun that you personally can do about your health: diet and exercise. Everything else you leave it to God. There are only 2 things you can control: what you eat and your exercises. Did you follow that plan if you had one? And if so, what benefits are you experiencing? If you didn't follow the plan, what do you intend to do differently in the year 2018? Now, I'm asking you to take stock of your 2017 along those 5 areas. I'm not asking you to check what others achieved unless you're their life coach, mentor, or accountability partner. And even then, first take stock of yourself. You can't take others where you've never been. You can only effectively teach what you consistently model. You know, busybodies and losers are busy analyzing what everyone else achieved, but they never check themselves. They are flat dead about their own consciousness. And I urge you to rise above such petty folks and take stock of your 2017. Taking stocks means making an assessment of the overall situation as a prelude to making informed decisions going forward. I want to give you some very simple steps to help you face your facts. To face your facts, number one, locate where you are. Locate where you are. The first step towards going somewhere is first deciding you don't want to stay where you are. Locate where you are in your personal and professional life. Stop fooling yourself around. Locate where you are in these 5 areas. In your attitudes, in your relationships, in your career, in your finances, and finally in your physical fitness. Be sure this is where I am. Step number 2. Draw the red lines, decision points, turning point, a place beyond which you'll never slide again. Drawing the red line means I'll never be broke again. In the next 2 years or 3 years, maximum 4 years, I'm not going to pay rent again. In the next 6 months, I'm not going to weigh these kilos again. I'm not going to break our relationships again. Draw the red lines that the enemy cannot cross. Who is the enemy? Scarcity. That thing that you don't want. Draw clear lines that cannot be closed. And thirdly, focus on what you can change, not on what you can't change. Focus on what you can change, not on what you cannot change. You see, there are a lot of folks who keep on whining about how someone messed them up. Oh, you have no idea how he left me 4 children and no rent. Now I don't know what to do. I didn't even have a job. Look at me. Who cares? This is the harsh reality. You have 2 categories of people. One who will have a story to tell others, and the forecast will avoid one bother to avoid. So why go preaching that story? Rather than focusing on how he left you, focus on building more meaningful relationships. Focus on advancing your career. Focus on completing that degree you have failed to complete. Once you train your eyes too much on the door that is closing, you will fail to notice the window that is opening. If you keep rereading the last chapter, you'll never open a new chapter in your life. And so I urge you tonight, do not dwell on what might have been. Look at what can be. What are the possibilities before you? Are we learning something? Yes. Lesson number 2. Let's go to lesson number 2. Expect to win. Wilma Rudolph was the 20th child of her father's 22 children. She was born prematurely and her survival was doubtful. At the age of 4, she contracted pneumonia, scarlet fever, and polio that left her with a paralyzed left leg. It was supported by a big metal brace. Thankfully, by the age of 9, she recovered from polio and she was able to walk without that metal brace that supported her left leg. At the age of 13, she developed a rhythmic walk that doctors said was a miracle. But that same year, she decided she wanted to be a runner. And she entered a race and lost. She came in last. She entered the second time and came in last. And from then on, every single race she entered, she came in last. And everyone who knew her unanimously urged her to quit. But she couldn't rent. She couldn't hear none of it. She kept on trying. Actually, one day, she won a race, and another one, and another. And from then on, she won every single race that she entered. In the 1960 Olympics, she won 3 gold medals, 100 meters, 200 meters, and together with her teammates, the 4x100 meter relay. And she was announced the fastest woman on earth, one whom the doctors said will never be able to walk again. Mark you, she was not participating in Paralympics. She was participating in the normal Olympics. Wilma saw herself as a winner. She ran to win. She expected to win, and finally she did win. There was a perfect harmonic agreement between her expectations and her eventual reality. Let me say this, ladies and gentlemen. There's a perfect harmonic agreement between your expectations and your reality. Your outer reality is a reflection of your inner reality. Your outer reality is a reflection of your expectations. You'll never rise above your expectations. You cannot cheat your subconscious mind. A lot of people expect to fail and they end up not disappointed. They expect to quarrel with your spouse tonight, and believe me, you will not be disappointed. They expect to divorce. They expect not to attract a life partner. They expect their business to collapse. They expect to lose their job. They expect to be sick. They expect to be in an accident. They expect to die. You know, we come in this life with no expectations, no attitudes, no opinions, no policies, no values. Our well-intended parents and teachers simply indoctrinated us with their set of beliefs and opinions and values, which largely formed our worldview and our early perspectives. Frame of reference, if you like. No wonder for most of us, we are not conscious about our thoughts. We are ignorant of the vitality of this precious faculty. But now we need to come to this realization that life does not give us what we want, life gives us what we expect, unless what we want and what we expect are incongruent. We have conditioned our minds to expect negative things to happen to us. We have conditioned our minds for negative expectations. We respond faster to negative expectations. As a way of example, in Kenya, for instance, whenever meetings like this are announced, a lot of us don't respond. We react to the fact that we are likely to be conned by another crook. Past reference of conmanship and blackmail and counterfeits has blinded many of us from taking notice of the true and the genuine, because we respond faster to negative expectations. We are trying to protect ourselves from crooks, not to be conned one more time. To overcome this conditional neurobias, you need to interrupt the flow of negative thoughts and negative expectations by repetitiously and consciously generating as many positive thoughts as humanly possible. Positive assertions, even if they sound illogical and seem irrational, will still generate positive results, I guarantee you. In any case, negative expectations will make you a captive of terror and a victim of fear, living under the bondage of failure. Positive assertions provide new instructions to our subconscious mind, which then executes our conscious orders. Your subconscious mind, in its pure and natural state, is non-judgmental. It doesn't decide what is good or bad for you. It doesn't even decide what is wrong, evil, or good. It doesn't even decide what is in our best interest. Our subconscious mind simply implements our conscious orders. In summary, our subconscious performs our conscious orders. So in 2018, expect to win. Do not expect to fail. Expect to be healthier than a racing horse. Expect money to flow like a never-ending stream. Expect your marriage to flourish like you've been hit afresh by Cupid's arrow. Do not verbalize what you don't want as a fact. For example, if you have no money in the pocket, resist from confessing I am broke and begin to say customers are starting to flow in my business. Where I work, I'm expecting a raise. I'm expecting tenders to cross my path. If you're unwell, don't vocalize it as a fact. Begin to vocalize the healing. Begin to vocalize the solution. For that solution does exist somewhere in the universe. And speak in the affirmative present tense, the now language. Don't speak about tomorrow, an elusive future tense. Don't say, I will be having money. Say, I am doing well. Speak the I am so that it begins to happen. I will be is elusive. For in higher worlds, time does not exist. What models your reality? Your model of reality is your life signature, the true asset of who you really are. No one can coerce you how you want to live your life. Living your life is the greatest art of all, but majority of people are not conscious of this art. Astute students of life, however, are deliberate about their life signature. They don't just live. They are conscious about every single moment they live. And therefore, I urge you today to think closely about your beliefs, because your beliefs are your personal laws. In this auditorium this afternoon, we have different laws. For example, I believe opportunities are all around me. I believe Kenya is the best nation for me to live. Believe me, if I had a different belief, I would have relocated. If you don't believe you have an opportunity in this nation, I advise you to relocate as soon as possible and go where you think you have a chance. Otherwise, you'll be a miserable failure. Life is too short for you to wander faithless. We have different sets of laws. What guides you? What's your model of reality? That's the question I'm asking. See, many of us have preconditioned our minds to just operate within comfort zones. In 2018, dare dream beyond what you dreamt before. Retrain the eye of your mind to see what you've not seen before. I even invite you to listen to my video on breaking vicious cycle. And please learn about what I taught about dream goals. I challenge you today, get your eyes off your undesired current circumstances and begin to project to your desired goal. Focus on the finishing line. You are expected to win. You are being waited for at the finishing line. You've gone through a lot, but you're expected to win. You've gone through depressions, but you're expected to win. You are destined to win. Don't prepare to fail. Don't practice to fail. In 2018, expect to win. Expect it to happen. Expect last year to be the last year that you missed that goal. Expect to graduate this year. Expect to get your own home this year. Expect to buy that new car this year. Expect to take your children for holiday this year. Expect favor to come your way this year. Expect to get married this year if that's your dream. Expect your relationship to flourish this year. You'll never rise above your expectations. Talk like it. Expect a miracle. Walk like it. Talk like it. Expect to win. Lesson number 3. Win every day. Watch this. Irrespective of what you do or do not do, on 31st of December this year, you're going to have some results. If I asked you in this hall, how many here have a goal? Almost 100% of you here will admit in the affirmative. But I want to ask you a slightly different question. How many in this live audience have written down their goals for 2018? You can't hit a goal that you don't have in the first place. Writing down goals clarifies your goals. It clarifies thoughts, clarifies your thinking. Writing down goals makes you focus. You are very clear with what you're pursuing in the course of that period. Writing down goals gives you a basis for evaluating performance. You are able to take stock of where you are against a certain yardstick. Writing down goals enhances creativity and innovativeness. Let me share one of our goals this year. In the very first quarter of this year, we intend to start a training center. Later on, a conference center. But believe me, before 1st of April, we'll be having a training center. Not our monthly meetings. A number of you have come for our specialized courses, like the one I was training for public speakers, or our purpose courses. We'll be training them from our facility. And because we had already decided to do this year, I visited a training center in Virginia that looked like what I want to put up. And we realized we can't get the furniture locally. We'll be buying them from Dubai. So when you write down that goal, it enhances your creativity. Now, by a show of hands, let me ask you one more question kindly. How many desire to achieve your goals in 2018? Thank you very much. People who desire to achieve their goals wake up when it's convenient. People who desire to achieve their goals sleep when it's convenient. They make phone calls when they feel like, based on moods. People who desire to achieve their goals, when they feel like sleeping, they just snore. They wait for the traffic jam. Committed people do what it takes to achieve their goals. Convenient people work on feelings. Committed people work on purpose. Committed people do not give stories. You know, I would have done this, but there was no capital. Those are stories. If they don't have a certain skill, they'll acquire it. If they can't acquire it, they'll outsource it. But they will have no story to give by 31st of December. They are inspired by results. And so they can't allow stories to stand between them and their result. This is what I'll suggest for you. The very first step towards achieving any goal you want in life is to really be driven by something larger than you. The very reason for your existence. I call it your life purpose, your lifelong goal. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am so passionate about purpose. I don't even want to diverge into that subject. But let me tell you this, a fact of life. Life is an uphill assignment. Why add friction to it? I'm already flowing within my purpose, and I meet a lot of challenges and barriers and giants to conquer. How much more when you're flowing against your own current? A shark is powerful and mighty, only within its domain. Once you get it out of the sea into dry land, it can be killed by a domestic dog. Why on earth would you dare swim against your own current? The beginning of fulfillment in life is discovering your life purpose. When you're 100% sure what you do is what you love, and what you love is what you do, you don't do things based on an academic qualification. You don't do things based on an opportunity that was available down street. You do it because it's within you. It's your material form. You have found your place. You're at peace with it. Only then can you handle any challenge, any storm that comes your way. If you follow me at any given moment, you can tell without a shadow of doubt, I'm operating within my domain. It acts as a magnet, and let alone this year, I'll be taking you through a subject called personal visioning. And this is the reason I have established purpose classes for 12 good hours in a row. This coming month of February, we have 12 hours of transformation. This will be our 7th season to take people through this. If you have not connected with who you are, if you have not truly found your place, I urge you to sign up for this class. And I'll even give you a discount we have not given before. These classes go for $20,000, inclusive of meals. I'll give every registered Sense on One member a 50% discount. 10,000 shillings. Thank you very much. Come for the 12 hours. Some people seated here had to pay 20,000. You come. We'll go through this class with you. Find your place. Connect with who you are. Every single year, every single day you wake up, you'll have such an energy. You look forward to doing what you love doing. Even over Christmas, even over holidays, even when I'm swimming, I'm still trying to produce the messages I want to give. I'm too obsessed by my purpose, by my calling. And until you reach that place, life has no meaning. You can make money and be miserable. But again, that's a subject for another day. Assuming that perhaps you know your purpose, then you need to break it down to 3-year goals, then to your annual goals. My purpose this afternoon is just to discuss with you your annual goals. Once you've decided this is what I want to achieve in 2018 in 5 areas, in your mental goals, in your relational goals, in your career goals, in your financial goals, in your health goals, then you need to break it down to 90-day goals and have given a talk on the same subject. You can search for it. Secure your life in 90 days. Go through it. But then we need to move from being goal setters to goal achievers. And this is where the rubber meets the road. This is the point I need you to take home. If there is any take home from this meeting, it's what I'm going to tell you right now. It is going to convert you from being a goal setter to a goal achiever. And this is the message, very simple. Win every day. Win every day. This is how it works. Decide what you're going to do this week, the weekend before. Every week, decide what you're going to do the weekend before and write it down. Every day, decide what you're going to do the night before. Don't decide in the course of the day. You're going to adjust your agenda conveniently. You've got to decide the night before. Morning will come anyway. It has no choice. The question is, are you prepared for the morning? You have already decided this is what I'm going to do tomorrow. When you're deciding what you're going to do the following day, ask yourself, I have these annual goals. If I was only to do one thing, just one thing to achieve my goals, what is this? If it's only one item, please pursue it to its logical conclusion, whether it takes 3 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours. Say no to everything else and pursue that one thing to its logical conclusion. Now, stop writing for a minute. Look at my eyes just for a moment. Never go to sleep until you win today. Never go to sleep until you accomplish your agenda for the day today. Failing is not an overnight event. It is failure to make that telephone call today. It is failure to see that client today. It is failure to submit that tender today. It is failure to write that proposal today. It is failure to tell a loved one, I love you today, and one day becomes weeks, months, and then you no longer feel your love for each other. I've tested these things in many ways. When I enrolled for my PhD, I say with humility, and I have a number of witnesses in the hall here, including a colleague lecturer who is in our midst. I did it in 3 years. I was the only student who graduated, being the first student who graduated in the country with project planning and management PhD. My classmates are still in class doing their thesis. Most of them perhaps are sharper than me. The only reason they have not yet graduated is that they postponed it to another day. They rescheduled the assignment to another day. You see, life is not divided into semesters. You've got to do it yourself. In your early days, someone planned goals for you, albeit unawares. You did not know it. When you enrolled in class 1, in our 844 system here in Kenya, someone had set an 8-year goal for you. And you knew she will examine you, whether you like it or not. And so most of us became serious only the last year. Because the goal was there. Then every year you examined. Every time you examined. Every day, let me tell you this. Every 40 minutes, there were clear lesson objectives and clear lesson outcomes. And this continued in high school. Then suddenly you found yourself out of high school or college and nobody was planning your life. One day turned into 1 year, into 10 years, 15 years later. When you look behind, you had nothing to show for the many years of work. You sense some wasted years within you without realizing what happened. What became of me is because you joked with the SI unit of life. The SI unit for life is the day called today. The SI unit is day, not week, not month, not years, not decades. You only need to joke around with your day. The Lord Jesus taught, give us this day our daily bread. He further said, every day has its own trouble. King James 4, every day has its own needs. Late last year, I went with Daisy, who works with me, to Mombasa to consult for a corporate organization, and they took me to task. I was taking them through policy developments. And they said, Doc, look, you helped us develop a business plan 3 years ago, but it's not working. So I told them, okay, fine, let's face the facts. Let's start with the first things here. How are you evaluating performance? And we are going to start with marketing department, because these are the guys who are bringing the business home. They told me, I asked them, how do you evaluate them? How often? What is the frequency? They said, We do it every month. All right. So every month, you receive a report from these people. Yes. Then I understand the missing link. It's very clear to me. If I have to give a report at the end of the month, I can tell you I visited company XYZ. I can give you a nice story. But if I know I will meet my supervisor 8:30 in the morning, and I explain what I'm going to do the day to day on an hourly basis. I tell him I'm going to make 5 phone calls, and I'm visiting 3 clients. And I'm going to meet the same supervisor at 4:30 before he releases me for the evening. I can give a story today about company X and Y and Z, but I cannot repeat that story 4 days later. Does that make sense? Yes. And believe me, that's what we do in our office. In fact, in our office, people don't tell me I'm going to make 10 calls. I don't listen to those stories. I ask, who are you calling? I want to write their name so that I hear the names you're going to give me tomorrow. You can't fool people for a day, but not for 3 days. But if they're going to give me a report at the end of the month, we will never sell our online programs. We will never take our programs to KBC or to airline companies. We will not be doing the trainings we normally do. And every single week, come this Monday, I have no breathing space. Our diary is extremely booked. It's overlapping because we have learned to measure goals on a daily basis. You people are nice people. You're God-rich children. You're God-fearing people. And you have never asked yourself, what happens 10 years later? You have been tithing and there's no breakthrough. Here is the secret. My people perish due to lack of knowledge. You'll go to church and they'll tell you about God's responsibility, but very few of them will tell you about your human responsibility. And that's the missing link. Unless you win per day, you will end up as a failure. If I know what I'm going to do today to win, and I repeat it tomorrow, and I repeat it 3 days later, then I have developed a prototype, a masterpiece that I can run with. And for the women and the ladies in our midst, I have a suggestion for you. It is not easy for ladies and girls to keep up with goals unless I give them this secret. Come up with some triggers to trick yourself to succeed. What do you mean, Doc? Come up with a sticker for what you're going to do today, and stick it on the mirror where you keep watching yourself to remember what you're supposed to achieve today. Some of you, the first place you go is the mirror. Some of you like food. The first place is the fridge. Stick it on your fridge door. So before you can pick your bread, you first remember your goals. Men and women alike, most of you are addicted to your phones. Every day, stick something on the screen of your phone. You are unable to call anyone before you see your goals. Come up with triggers. Do not leave this place without making that decision that I must win the day today. Sometimes I've thought to myself, I've taken people through purpose classes. Some have succeeded, majority have not. How do I know? Those who succeed tell me. Last year alone, 3 people called me, very excited. They bought their very first cars. They couldn't let me go. Please, Doc. In fact, I remember one of them. I was leaving our cruise, the meetings we conducted at St. Andrews. She said, I can't let you go. You've got to dedicate my car. You convinced me I can do it last year, and I have done it. And I came here to show you that. You can imagine the thrill, the joy, the excitement in my heart. Because the success of a mentor is the success of his proteges. That's his desire. That is his fulfillment. It gives me a lot of pain when people come through purpose courses. Some of them, I've taken them through very rigorous programs. Last year, I took a group to the Great River Nile. And I took them through intense self-discovery. 3 days, 3 nights along the Nile. This year, April, we are taking another group to Singapore. We are cruising from Singapore to Kuala Lumpur. 5 days, 5 nights, connecting with purpose. August, we are doing this for the diaspora community, all the way from Southampton in England to Italy. And by the way, some Kenyans who are seated in our midst here paid. Then I've asked myself, how come some of these people, after going through such rigorous training, I never hear any testimony? And this has been disturbing to me. And I thought to myself, when I was taking them through purpose classes, we were able to identify what they can do on a day-to-day basis. They wrote it down on a piece of paper, others on a notebook, but they didn't know what to write in February or in March or in June. And I decided I'm going to address that challenge. And I developed a tool for you. I call it the Organizer. So I developed a tool for you. It's called the Organizer. I'm giving you this tool so that you can write it. You can write your goals every day, hour by hour basis. Then you have a place for your contacts, who to contact, and the projects, and how to break them down. The reason I'm doing this is so that I don't give you ideas on how to win per day, and then you wonder, so how am I going to plan per day? So I've done it for you. A couple of things about the Organizer. Number one, the Organizer will help you break down complex projects into small, manageable tasks. The secret to getting ahead is getting started. The secret to getting started is breaking down a complex project into minute tasks and then starting on the first one. Secondly, the Organizer will help you to have an order. It will make you orderly. Rushing from one activity to another can be freaking exhausting. The hour has come, you stop confusing motion for progress. You stop confusing activities for accomplishments. You stop confusing processes for results. You stop confusing stories for deliverables. And the Organizer will keep your day orderly. Thirdly, the Organizer will help you to monitor your progress. As you take in what you've done, the completed and the uncompleted tasks, you're able to tell where you are against where you're supposed to be. You can gauge the progress of your day-to-day activities. You can see the tasks accomplished and the ones that are pending. Fourthly, the Organizer will create a memory outside of you. You see, the average human being can only hold a maximum of 7 pieces of information for only 30 seconds. If you try to hold more than 7 pieces of information at the same time, you are setting yourself up for failure. The Organizer will help you to keep aside that which you do not need in the present so that you can immerse yourself deeply into the present, which is the prerequisite to optimal performance. Because you know you have recorded it somewhere, it doesn't bother your working memory. So the Organizer will help you to remain focused. Number 5, to help you remain focused and to keep up from secondary activities. That means if I'm going to decide today on Saturday what I'm going to do tomorrow on Sunday, what the Organizer will help me to do is to avoid secondary activities. Life is very tempting. A lot of imagined opportunities will rise up. If it was not recorded in the Organizer and you detect it to be an imagined opportunity, I request you to make a phone call to your accountability partner and tell them, hey, I'm deviating from what I planned for the day today. Because some of the things you're running for could be conmanship. These things you engage in emotionally, thinking they're opportunities, that's where you get conned. So the Organizer will help you to focus on the main thing, keeping the main thing. All right, Doc, we agree we need the Organizer. At this time of age, why a manual organizer? The Forrester Research, a very renowned research group, conducted a survey on successful CEOs, and they found out 87% of all successful executive officers complemented electronic gadgets with notebooks, even in the boardroom. They believed in writing. And that is why we keep telling students to take down notes. Even in this forum, those among you who are writing down notes on a comparable scale will have a higher retention of the message. You can't argue with me on this point. I can present over 100 messages offered, and while I do not want to ignore the role of God's gifting, I have never, ever presented any message without writing it down. Writing enhances your retention, your creativity, and even your ability to conceptualize concepts. Writing has its undeniable place today. One of the most prolific and most respected authors, researchers, and writers, and professors of education psychology, Virginia Banija, argues that writing down notes activates the working memory far more than typing on electronic gadgets. So I suggest strongly, do not leave this place without picking the organizer. When you pick the organizer, write every single day what you're going to do the night before. Write in black or blue. Check for yourself every evening where you are against where you had planned to be. If you can meet your accountability partner per week, so be it, but at least once a month. And your accountability partner comes with a red pen. And then let's check per day. If you have achieved less than 80% of what you had planned to do today, you are headed for trouble. If you always retain over 90% of your day's task, I guarantee you 100% you're going to win your goals for the year 2018. Yesterday, Pastor Mureithi Wajau, the senior pastor and founder of Mavuno Church, came to our meeting. He was with us here. And he's going to be speaking in our February meeting on couples and money. And when I finished speaking, I asked him to pray for the audience, and he said the clothes he was wearing in January, he cannot wear them right now. He's now wearing the same clothes he used to wear when he was in college over 30 years ago. And the secret he learned last year is the issue of dealing with every single day. And he was able to overcome a certain weight he didn't want to his desired weight. And I know a number of people who've gone through my lessons who can attest that winning takes place on a daily agenda. The 500 shillings you're going to spend on the organizer, $5 is not worth your annual goals. In fact, I'm contemplating calling some meetings here. Perhaps in the course of the year. I don't think I want to wait until December. Just want to call you back, every one of you who attended our January forums, and ask you to meet me on a desk like this, and maybe other council members are going to help me so that I don't get overwhelmed by the work. And you come with a book and we start checking. Which day did you go wrong? And because Kenyans like more Kenya, do not start adding stuff to what you didn't do. Just be true to yourself. Let's check. What is it that you're able to do? And then you can tell us, is it that you are not realistic while setting out your goals? The secret to winning, win every day. Look at your neighbor and tell him or her, win every day.
Win every day.
Are we learning something?
Yes.
Please find out for me, what do they expect to win this year? What do they expect? Do they know? Have they defined success? Do they know what success looks like for this year? Just find out. What are they expecting? Do you think they know what they're doing? Lesson number 4. Change your habitual patterns. Change your habitual patterns. To bring out this lesson on habits, there's a story I like giving of a man who walked down the street on a sidewalk. Unfortunately, he fell in a manhole. He didn't know that there was a manhole. It was not his fault. But he still struggled to get out there. On the second day, he walked down the same street along the same sidewalk. And he fell again the second time in the same hole. He pretended it was not there. I can imagine he was even closing his eyes. You know, when you pretend there's no HIV, HIV doesn't care. You can close your eyes, but it's still there. If you pretend issues and try to bury your head beneath the sand, your issues don't leave you. They don't leave you. You know, there are people who go drinking to pretend that the problems are not there. You'll only pretend for 2 hours. Then you wake up and meet them right there. Day number 3, same street, same sidewalk. This time round, he fell again. His eyes were opened. He realized it has become a habit. Day number 4, same street, same sidewalk. This time round, he walked around the manhole. His eyes had opened. He was not a victim. Day number 5, he took a different street altogether. Some people take the same street for a lifetime, and they wonder why things are not changing. Explain to me, how do you accidentally get pregnant the 6th time? Oh, I didn't say that, did I? Sorry. You know, reflection turns experience into insight. What are habits? Those unthinking, automatic choices that we make each day. All habits, no matter how complex they are, all habits are malleable. The most addicted alcoholic can become sober. The most gluttonous person who wrestles in a single sitting 2 chicken can become moderate. The cursing tongue can be the blessing tongue. The loose tongue can be tamed. The hot-tempered can be controlled. The promiscuous can be chaste and morally upright. The most dysfunctional families that fight every now and then can transform themselves. All of us have had some habits we try to drop and we are unable. And some habits we try to acquire and we drop them along the way. And the primary reason why we are unable to deal with our habits is not lack of determination. It's not even lack of willpower. For most of us, there's a strong desire within us to overcome alcoholism, to overcome sexual promiscuity, to overcome overweight, to overcome fighting as a marriage. No one wants to live in a hostile marriage. There's a desire within most of us. Even those who have short tempers, if you talk to them, deep down their heart they don't like it. There's a strong desire to overcome it. So where do we drop the ball? The challenge is because most of us do not really understand how habits work. All habits are cyclic. It's a habitual loop. A trigger, a routine, a reward. A trigger, a routine, a reward. Something triggers you into the habit. You repeat it again, it becomes a routine. You get a certain satisfaction, a certain pleasure that is deceptive and misleading. It's a reward. And it makes you to repeat the habit again. And we need to interrupt this habitual loop. So let me suggest some 3 simple steps, practical steps, to break undesired habitual patterns for us to have a fresh beginning in 2018. Step number 1, identify your trigger. What fits into your habit? There could be many triggers, but the overwhelming majority of people, the primary trigger to any undesired habit are the people around us. Scripture teaches, do not be deceived, bad company corrupts good morals. 1 Corinthians 15:32. The primary trigger to all bad habits, whether it's eating junk, whether it's having a side plan outside your marriage, whether it's drug and substance abuse or alcoholism, the primary trigger is the company you keep. I want to suggest this. Usher a new season in 2018. You will never perform in a manner that is inconsistent with your level of association. Your friends form you and you form your friends. There are some friends God has brought your life for a season, and the season could be over. You are either growing together or dying together. You are either floating together or sinking together. Even your current income is an average of your 3 best friends. That's why you know the restaurants to avoid. Because you are the same level. You need to interrupt this kind of a comfort. Learn when somebody's role in your life is over and let it go. Do not over insist. Their role is over, period. That doesn't mean they are bad people. They are precious people in the sight of God. They are valuable people to their families. They may no longer be adding value to you. If you're not adding value to one another, please let it go. But there could be another trigger to promiscuity. If you're exposing yourself to explicit materials, magazines, videos, Another trigger to eating unhealthy, besides the people you hook up with, is it the place you pass by? And these days we have KFC driveway, which has not made things any better for you. What is this that triggers you to do what you don't want to do? Is it possible one of the triggers to alcoholism is because you're stressed more than you would care to admit, either at home or in the marketplace, or both, and you're trying to look for solace? Step number 2, substitute the undesired habit with a desired habit. Substitute the undesired habit with a desired habit. I really need you to follow this point, because this may liberate some of you for a lifetime. You see, in your high school algebra, you are taught substitution and elimination methods. Elimination methods exist only in pure mathematics. And my first training is in mathematics. In real life, we eliminate through substitution. What that means is this: if you try to avoid or to resist a certain habit, it persists. Whatever you resist persists. The way to overcome that habit is to replace it with another habit. Rather than going cold turkey on that habit you don't desire, replace it tonight. Let me make it practical for you. If the most vulnerable day in your drinking is Friday night, enroll for piano class. Enroll for a Spanish class. Guess what? If you decide you're not going to join your drinking buddies on Friday night, and you start watching TV at home, one phone call will make you very vulnerable. Do you agree with me? Yes. But if you told them, I'm doing a certain class, I'm doing some accounts, they are likely to respect that. But they don't respect idleness. Correct? They're likely to, oh, this guy is doing some class. They're likely to respect that. Then, after your piano class, 9 o'clock, you're likely to join them for late night drink. So how do you avoid that? Join the guys who go for Karura walk Saturday morning at 5. They walk for 10 kilometers or 15 kilometers. Now, since you know you have to wake up by 5 in the morning on Saturday, you're not going to join those guys after the class. So unless you plan what is going to happen Saturday morning, you're likely to leave the class and join them, which will be worse off. On Sunday morning, make sure you attend the first morning service. The third service is for drunks. Sorry, that's a joke. Forgive me. I was just checking whether you're alert. But on a serious note, enroll for the morning service. It will force you to be cautious about your Saturday evening. What am I saying? If you focus on your drunkenness, you'll never overcome it. Substitute with a desired behavior. Let's come to extramarital affairs. I'll give you a formula that will deliver 100% result. I have no guess. This one works 100% of the time. The very, very simple step, number 1, and this works all the time. This is for men only. Girls, don't listen to this. This is for men only. The next time a girl asks you for your phone number, give her your wife's phone number. Now, let me tell you something. The first call will be the last call. It works. You know, it sounds like a joke, but that's what exactly I do. And those who are close to me know that. Even since one members who are here, among the ladies who are here, they know if I've ever given anyone an appointment, they either called my PA or they called my mercy. That's just a fact. And if there is anyone who can prove me otherwise, I'll say the same way Jesus said in public, stand up and embarrass me now. You just purpose to do it that way. The second thing you do to deal with your affairs, make sure you go for outing with your wife. This may be hard if you have not done it for long. So let me make it practical for you. Look for 2 or 3 couples that you can hang out with. Because your desire was to talk to another woman, talk to your friend's wife. Look. You can't, look here, you can't convince me. You have gone out as 4 couples, and you have 4 women, and you can't see what you're looking for in life. You can't convince me. You must be very sick. So if you can trick yourself by joining up as family friends and be going out together and deliberately for the first few weeks talk with the other person. Eventually you'll be able to talk to yours. You must come up with a way to stop a habit by replacing it. I'm 2 months shy, 15 years of marriage. And I can tell you without blinking an eye, my outings have been with my Mercy, who is together with me. And this is the reason she resigned from being the corporate trainer in Safaricom to join me when we started doing a lot of international missions. We go everywhere together. And the last time I checked any woman on this planet, I realized she has whatever you have. Can we be honest?
Yes.
Come to the issue of eating. The biggest challenge with overweight is because you live with people who convince you you have no problem, it's a gene you inherited from your grandfather. Let me just tell you the truth, because they won't tell you. The problem is not your grandfather's gene. The problem is your eating habits and lack of exercise. Period. I want you to walk to Kibera or Madare Valley and show me one person who is overweight. Show me one. And the primary reason is some of them don't take lunch, most of them don't take lunch, and they walk for a long distance to work in industrial area. Why are these genes only found in Kileleshwa and Lavington? Why? Think about it. It has to do with diet and exercise. Period. So how do you overcome it? First, change the people you hang out with who encourage you to go for fast foods. Get organized so that you prepare a proper meal. Get the organizer. Because one of the reasons you go for fast foods is because of being disorganized. I know a lot of people eat junk for one reason. They are so busy, they want to eat in 2 minutes. Pick the organizer. Organize your lunch hour. Take a good 1 hour. And connect with yourself. Or replace the habit by going for a health club during lunch hour. You will not hook up with people who are conscious about health and not change. I guarantee you. I'm conscious about it. As I told you, today alone, I was able, though I was so tired, I was here speaking last night, but I was still able to do my 30 minutes today here in this health club right here. And for 2 weeks, this week and next week, I'm on a no-wheat diet. I would assume after that. And every so often, I have to come up with a way to ensure I do not add cholesterol and affect my breathing capacity, which is so essential for my career. You've got to purpose. Don't think you're the only one with nice birds for tasting junk. We all can. We choose not to. I know after this, they will go to encourage you again, so it's good you've heard the truth, and this truth will set you free. Step number 3. Repeat desired patterns. Repeat desired patterns. Repetition is the mother of all learning. We are creatures of habit and creators of habits. So I challenge you. Examine the habit that you don't like. Check the payoffs and replace the payoffs with higher, better dividends. For instance, if I have been having extramarital affairs and I know nobody tells you these things elsewhere, and I now decide to reform from 2018 and have a different life altogether, what are the higher, better dividends? I'll spend more time with my children doing homework. I'll raise a better generation after me, because I now realize if I invest in my children, I don't have to invest for my children. I'll have better time with my wife, and I'll have better time in the working place, because perhaps these are the affairs I was having were distracting me from my key KPIs. Overcoming a habit that you never thought you can overcome will give you indescribable peace and boost your confidence to a manner and a degree you never thought possible. So trick yourself to win. Winning is not about personality types. It's about what you do on a daily basis. You overcome your behaviors by changing your daily routine. Winning is about daily practices, daily habits. Your take home tonight, daily. Lesson number 5 and the last one. Rewrite your story. Maybe before I give you the last one. How many plan to own their first car this year? The Lord answer those prayers. Amen. It will happen. Expect it to happen. Number 5. Are you there? Rewrite your story. Rewrite your story. George Weah participated in the presidential elections in Liberia in the year 2005 and lost. In the presidential campaigns, his competitors exploited the fact that he was uneducated. The fact is, he didn't even have a high school certificate, although he could speak English, French, and Italian. George decided to go back to school, and in the year 2006, at the age of 40, he got his high school diploma. He proceeded to Denver University in Miami, Florida, where he got his bachelor's degree in business management. And now he has a master's degree in public administration. On 22nd of January this month, just a few days to come, George Weah will be inaugurated as the president of that country that was founded by freed slaves from the United States. The 1995 World Footballer of the Year and the only African player up to now to have been awarded that prestigious award refused to be defined as an academic failure and a political loser. The Liberian president-elect decided to change his narrative. He has now rewritten his story, and as long as the earth endures, his inspiring story will be passed on from generation to generation in the pages of human history. If an unlearned footballer could dream of becoming a president, why not you? There are no unreasonable goals, just unreasonable deadlines. I want to suggest this afternoon, use the lens of destiny and visualize your future self. See the person you'll end up being. For some of us, it's in 20 years to come. For some of us, it's in 30 years. For some of us, it's in 40 years. But there's a secret person you want to become, and you don't want to share with anyone, lest they mock you, lest they ridicule you. Maybe there's a secret within you to be the industrialist in Africa. Maybe there's a secret within you to be the next governor of Nairobi. Maybe there's a secret within you to be the president of Kenya. Maybe there is a secret within you to be the UN Secretary General. Maybe there is a secret within you that you don't want to share with anyone else. That is your future self. Now, I would like you to hold a conversation with your future self. If this person were to talk to you today, what would he tell you? What choices did they make between where you are and where they are? How did he handle obstacles and barriers and challenges and embarrassing situations and defeats? If this person were to look at you, if your future self was to stare down the life you are living today, what would they tell you? What corrections would they make? What suggestions for the overhaul of your life for you to move from where you are to that person you secretly see? What advice would they give you? Please allow your future self to respond to your present self and write down the responses as you hear them. This is the story you are rewriting. And the reason I want you to exercise your imaginative power is because you cannot go where you cannot dream. You cannot reach where you cannot see. Did you have some childhood dreams? What dreams did you drop along the way? Pick them up. You have just one life to live. Ignite the sparks, the tiny sparks of possibility that dwell within you, and execute the story of your dream into unquenchable flames of achievement. Life is not a practice awaiting the actual performance. Every moment you live, you're executing a final performance on your life stage. Life is not a dress rehearsal. Stop practicing what you want to do and just do it. You can't build a reputation on what you intend. Stop waiting for the person you want to become. They may never come your way. And start being the person you want to become. In your life, you will never be invited for auditions. You're both the director of the show and the producer. You're both the scriptwriter and the actor. You're both the judge and the artist in the performance. You're both the learner and the master. You're both the goal setter and the goal executor. No one will come to appraise you. You've got to do it yourself. As a judge to your life story, are you fair with your life story? Everything that has a beginning has an end. Your life on earth had a definite beginning, it has a definite end. In between is your life story, your life journey. How is your life story unfolding? Life has no rehearsals. If you repeated a class, you didn't repeat life. That is part of your story. If a business closed down, that does not mean you have repeated a business. No, it is still part of your story. If you separated with a spouse, that is a story you cannot erase. Today, I've given you a 365 page book to write your story. Nothing has ever appeared in your book before. It's a blank screen. You're on a fresh page today. In the next 360 days, what are you going to write on your life story? Will it inspire anyone like George Weyers? As long as you can hear my voice, your story is not yet over. God is not done with you yet. So stop projecting or looking at the ends that are closing. Don't cast your eyes to the ends that are closing. Open your heart to new beginnings. One day, when employees got to work, they found a note on the door, written these words: the person who's been hindering your progress, the person who's been sitting on your promotion in this company, has now passed away. You're invited for the funeral at the room prepared in the gymnasium. Initially, all the employees were sad. But after a few moments, they thought, I think this is a good thing. That now I can see the identity of the person who has been sitting on my breakthrough. And one by one, they all passed through the coffin. And when the first guy reached where the coffin was, and he looked inside, he left there in a sober mood, like something had pricked the depth of his soul. He couldn't talk to anyone. Inside the coffin, where they were invited as we traditionally do to give all last respects, he found nothing but a mirror. Beside the mirror were written these words: only you can hinder your progress. Only you can transform yourself. The only way for 2018 to be different is to realize we don't win by chance, we win by change. This change must be an internal process. And because this change is normally infinitesimal and invisible, very few of us are able to notice it. So we begin to notice the visible signs of success in other people. We admire big cars in other people. great businesses in other people, great relationships. Without realizing, we are gazing at a mirage, grasping at an illusion. We are admiring the fruits without studying the roots, without realizing that true success is not what is seen with the naked eye, but what happens inside of that person. When we fail to recognize this fundamental truth, we begin changing external circumstances. So we change from one business to another, or we relocate business premises or locations. We keep changing jobs because we think there is a certain boss who's been sitting on my promotion. We even relocate countries of residence because we think other countries are better than ours. Some people even change their business partners or even life partners because you're projecting issues to others rather than yourself. You think they're the ones sitting on your performance. Thereby you become a prisoner of yourself, repeating the same vicious cycles, recurring patterns. You're in a loop. The only way to get permanent, irreversible changes is an inner work. When you fail to realize that, you think your business will automatically get better. Your marriage will automatically get better. If you're single, I'll automatically begin to attract people. Without realizing your own self-rejection turns people away. 2018 will automatically get better. I'll automatically lose weight. Who told you? My children will automatically be disciplined. Hear me, Kenya. You've got to be intentional. You've got to be automatic. Or you've got to be, deliberate. You've got to be intentional and deliberate. You will not automatically get better. You've got to be deliberate. There has to be a growth plan. You've got to purpose to win. You're not going to win accidentally in any area of your life. I honestly believe if you follow my growth plan, your life will never be the same again. If you plan, and I can see some people here who have made that decision, to come here either the first Friday of every month, 6 to 8 o'clock, or the first Saturday of every month, 3 to 5 o'clock. If you purpose to come, if you commit to come, don't come emotionally. Don't come erratically, sporadically, by feelings. You commit to come. Don't give stories of traffic jams and rains. When you've had the hardest downpours and traffic, we've still had audience here. When convenient people are sleeping, the committed people are still here. Can you imagine the lessons you missed last year? I was teaching on strategic thinking. I was teaching on the power of an idea. And while I encourage you to watch YouTubes, they cannot replace a live meeting. Do you agree with me? Yes. Would you replace your Sunday services and start watching preachers in your house? Is it the same? There is something called the spirit of the moment. The emotion, that hour where your spirit connects with my spirit. The rest is listening to inspirational talks. But right now, I guarantee you, something is happening on your inside. I guarantee you. I can sense it. I can feel it. I can feel a transfer of my spirit to you people. And that's the difference. Commit yourself. Then purpose, if you have not done the 12-month program, My Life Journey, where we teach in details, in small groups of 7 to 10 people, purpose to be there. Let me read you one testimony. I receive so many testimonies, almost on a day-to-day basis. Someone said me this. I don't know her. I've never met her. Dr. Kinyanjui, I could not let this year end without my personal acknowledgement. I first met you when you came to NPC Karen last year, and I've since become a member together with my son, who is in junior club. When you taught Vicious Cycle, I knew my life had to change. In summary, I got a new job, we bought some land, I was awarded 3 coveted awards in my organization, we moved into our own home in June, I've grown closer to God, I went back to the gym and finally graduated with my MBA on Friday after 8 years. I started writing my goals down. I have my daily 5. I'm deliberate about growth. I'm unknowingly positive with lots of positive talk. I listen to personal development audio videos in the car each day, etc., etc. The list is endless. You have changed my life. I'm ever grateful for you. God sent you to me. I thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart. May God continue to give you wisdom to transform generations. Happy New Year. Thank you. Thank you so much. You are the next testimony. Amen. Every year holds a new promise. Every day presents a new beginning. I now commend you to the Lord God of new beginnings. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord bless you and be gracious to you. The Lord bless you and turn his face toward you. In Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you.